Hi, gonna make a video here because the unemployment rate report just came out. It came in at 4.1%. You may not think this is a big deal. Again, it keeps rising. It's not gonna stop. Eventually, you're gonna start to get 0.2, 0.4, and eventually a full percentage point increase month over month. Um, every single time the unemployment rate goes up like this, you get a gray bar. You may not think it's up a lot. Again, it's up from 3.4 to 4.1. No? We went over this in my last video. Before the gray bar, again, shaded areas indicate US recessions. Before the last one appeared, the unemployment rate only went up 0.5%, 0.5%, and I think it was 0.5% as well. We're 0.7% above the cycle low right now. There's a lot of warning signs here, and of course, a lot of people are choosing to ignore it. Here's a picture of the 20-month SMA, simple moving average, in red over the unemployment rate when that was last month when it was 4%. Now it's 4.1%. I'm from Sweden, and this is what's happening with the Swedish unemployment rate. Again, things are not gonna get better, man. And like I brought up in my last video, this picture right here. Now, the problem is, give me one sec. I need to bring this up right here. Blockchain Backer retweeted this last month. Yeah, right here. Annual S&P 500 contribution of 10 largest weights during positive performance years. 2007, 2024, 2023. The one was it before that? 2020, 1999, 2021. Guys, these were right before major tops in the stock market. The unemployment rate is rising. It's not stopping and it's not going to get better, okay? You can see what happened here during the 2008 business cycle. You could have also said here when it was 0.7 above the cycle low, you could have said when it was 4.4 and then it went up to 5.1, you could have said it's not that bad. And then it even went down the month after that. But then look what happens. It goes up 0.4% in 1 month, right? And eventually you start getting like these parabolic readings, right, in unemployment rate. Maybe not a full percentage point in a month, but I think the worst one we had was, yeah, like right here. 6.8 to 7.3 to 7.8 to 8.3 to 8.7, right? So things will get better. Now I want to bring up a couple of clips. Figure this would be interesting to go over.
Ce processus-là, il y a un moment où il se déconnecte de l'économie réelle. Et évidemment, on pourrait dire attention, c'est déconnecté, ça va péter. Oui, mais c'est de l'intérêt de personne de dire ça. C'est-à-dire que les gens.
Okay, so what did he say? At some point, this process started to disconnect from the real economy. Someone could have raised the alarm, of course, but it was in no one's interest, and on it went. The economy was struggling, but people didn't care because the stock market kept pushing higher. Why was it going higher? Because the large caps were pushing up the whole index, and no one gave a shit because there was no incentive. So that's what this guy brought up. And then you can listen to this.
1929, there had been ominous rumblings. For months, unemployment had been rising. Automobile sales and department store revenues had fallen off sharply. Across the South and West, farms were failing in.
So no one cared that the unemployment rate was rising. No one cared about any of these signs. It didn't matter because they were partying like it was 1929, right?
What caused the crash of 29 was excess speculation. What had happened was that the American economy as a whole had begun to cool starting in 1928.
It had begun to cool starting in 1928. Because the year before the bad shit happened. Alright. Did the economy start to cool here in 2007 before 2008? Yep. Did it start to cool here in 2023 before 2024 going into 2025? Yep.
And the Wall Street economy disconnected from the underlying real economy and became a speculative bubble.
Wow. Doesn't sound like today at all.
And this fueled the speculation that just took off and took off and took off until, again, one day, somebody woke up and said, this has gone too far. There's an old story about Bernard Baruch, that he had his shoes shined every morning by the same shoe shine boy. And one morning, the shoe shine boy gave him a stock tip. And Baruch went to his office, called up his broker, and said, sell me out. And shoe shine boys are giving stock tips. It's time to get out.
As summer turned to fall, the mood changed. As the stock market dipped, then rose, then lurched downwards again, investors grew increasingly uneasy. In September, an economist named Roger Babson sent a wave of fear.
No problem, guys. They're just tattooing Solana on their forehead. But it ain't a bubble, bro, and there's nothing to worry about.
Suppose stock prices quadruple and go from 100 to 400, even over the course of a decade. A lot of people would look at that and say, that is crazy. You would not trust a stock market that had prices going up like that.
There were people who saw that the economy's growth was based on false premises and warned that a problem would arise.
There are a handful of Wall Street bankers, investment bankers, who say that the economy and the market itself is way overextended, that speculation on margin is dangerous, that the stock market, the values on the stock market are grossly inflated, warning that that there are danger signs. There are some people like the statistician Roger Babson, and they are systematically ignored.
Roger Babson declared in September, 1 month before the collapse, sooner or later a crash is coming. It'll be terrific, colossal even. The stock market will fall by its own weight, and there'll be a mad rush beyond anything we've ever seen. Mad rush beyond any...
Oh, that's the same video.
The higher the market got, the more other people shouted down those who warned that the market was getting out of control. Because if people started taking them seriously, they'd start to sell their stock and the stock market would go down.
There were signs before the market crashed that the economy was starting to go down again. Short-term signs of economic recession can never be trusted. We always have pauses and sometimes economies come back, but there were signs of over-speculation all over the place, in particular the high level of stock prices, which were very hard to justify on any historical basis. But there were investment trusts that average people were putting their money in. Investment trusts were able to borrow a lot of money to invest in stocks. Average people, typical people, were borrowing money on their own to buy individual stocks, margin borrowing. So there were all kinds of signs that there was trouble to come.
It began to sort of vacillate through September. And then in October, it began to fall. And then in about the third week in October, the bottom started to fall out.
And that's usually a sign when...
No problem, guys. Here's another one. Job openings, 14 of the past 17 months have been revised lower. Again, like, the recession is here. It's extremely clear. You know, I've said this before, and like, just to get like real talk here for a sec, I'm fucking concerned, man, because I have so many friends and like my family, my brother, just people I care about in general, who I don't know how this is gonna end up for them. I don't want this shit to happen, but it's happening in front of our eyes, man. Like, we can keep being blind to it, and the stock market clearly doesn't care right now. Bitcoin seems to have maybe started to care. We don't know if this is the reason why or anything. Again, for now, it's a massive double top. And where did it massive double top at? Again, let's go to log scale, okay? And let's make sure that everyone understands what this actually means, okay? Go to the weekly chart here. This is the magnet tool on TradingView. If I control and I mouse over this, you can see it gets the perfect measurement. If I mouse over this candle right here, it's going to say that L, and that means the low, 31.2451. My fib 0 is at 31.2451. The perfect measurement, okay? Where did BTC reject that? The 4.236 extension, it's at 73.779. Where did it reject that? 73.757. You can see the H here. 73.757. It legit rejected off of this level within 0.03%. $20. And it's still the high now. I'm not going to sit here and say that I called the top and shit because, look, I'm a speculator and I've called tops left and right, right? And I've been wrong plenty of times and shit. But I did post this on March 14th. Top forever. Maybe in 20 years we take this out. 4.236 extension is so bad, guys. You just don't get it yet. But you will in a few months. That was the top. People don't care right now. It doesn't matter. Why should they care? But they will care when it's too late. Tragic times, man. Yeah, and you can read all my arguments here from the day of the top on BTC. Where was the day of the top? March 14th. Not credited to the stock market, huh? It's exactly where stocks are. They both bought on November 5th, 2020 low as well. 4.236 extension on assets and indices. Good chance Bitty is going to 2K below the COVID lows. I'm not trolling, by the way. That is extremely likely in a Great Depression style crash. It just follows the stock market. It's so simple. They all have monthly, 3-month bearish dips, not a normal cycle. Why are all the altcoins back to new lows? Can you explain to me? Can you explain this to me? Why is Matic back to 2022 levels? Why is Cardano this deep into the 2022 range? Why is Litecoin down here? What's going on? In previous cycles, they were not putting in new lows or down this bad, this deep into a quote-unquote bull run. And look, maybe this is a deviation. There is a chance. There is a chance that it is. Okay? Just like that was a deviation right there. There's a chance. But we just went, like, again, everyone interprets this price action differently. But we went sideways here for 129 days. 4.5 months, nearly. At all-time high prices, we just barely broke the all-time high. People are going to say this is a triple top. Things don't triple top. How is that a triple top if the first top to the last top is 14% higher? Or if the last top is 14% higher than the first top? I mean, like, don't shoot the messenger, bro. We deviated above the all-time high. Why can't we deviate below this low now? And we have a long way to go. But BTC was kind of like a leading indicator for the stock market as well back here. Because BTC bottomed on November 10th, 2021. And the Nasdaq bottomed on November 22nd, 2021. And the S&P bottomed on January 4th, 2022. So the S&P front ran it. No, I mean the Bitcoin front ran the S&P and the Nasdaq a bit. So I don't know. That's not looking great. Obviously, everyone can see this right now. Like, it's not. Of course, it can mean revert. It could even bounce back to the mid 60Ks probably. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't know actually. I have no idea. Okay, in the short term, the stock market is not collapsing right now, so it's not the end of the world. But it's just like in 2020. You know, the stock market didn't care when the COVID news was coming out right here. They didn't care. Just kept pushing higher. And then eventually this happened. Because eventually the news got so bad that the market couldn't ignore it anymore. There's signs that things are way worse now than in 2008, and the market went down 60% back then. 60% is back to the COVID lows. The Great Depression, again, we don't necessarily have to think that this is what's going to happen, right? But that's how deep the stock market went. Just to put this into perspective, okay? We're talking going back to like 1995 levels. If the only thing that's holding up the stock market is this shit, well, you tell me how parabolas resolve. Did they resolve sideways? No. Every parabola goes down 70 to 90%. Could it go higher? Yeah, sure. It's a bubble. Of course it can go higher. Do I think it's going to go higher? I have no idea. But wherever it tops out, it probably has 70 to 90% down to go from that point. Did unemployment rate update here on TradingView? No, I didn't. But again, same cycle as always. Now this is higher than the orange line even says here. It's 4.1 now. The yield curve starts to re-steepen and the unemployment rate is rising. What a surprise. It's not like this is what happens every single time. I don't know. Tragic times ahead, man. Take care, guys. Peace.